The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to my State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. This original broadcast is a Tuesday evening show. You might see it a couple of different times. It is an education conversation, and it is with the new superintendent of the Providence Schools, Harrison Peters, who came as a turnaround agent coupled with Commissioner Angelica Infante Green. She hired him to do the work of the district while she tries to turn around the entire state's education performance. But clearly it has been a laser focus on the city of Providence. And of course, COVID-19 brings us all sorts of challenges, pre and post, meaning from the past and still into the future. With no further ado, our conversation with the superintendent of schools, Harrison Peters. And so with no further ado, here is the new superintendent of schools in the city of Providence, Harrison Peters. Super, welcome to Rhode Island. Belated, but welcome to Rhode Island.
Thank you so much. Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, what a whirlwind, huh? Nothing like taking a new gig, changing your life, and taking on the world and finding yourself in the middle of COVID-19. I mean, can you even, spell your name right at this point? It must be crazy.
I will say, Dan, that there's no playbook for this. I'm really excited to be among the newest Rhode Islanders, but obviously jumped definitely directly into a school district that was definitely in need of some change, and then this hit. So no playbook, but we're going to have high expectations for kids, and we're going to continue to push the needle.
All right. Let's see if it's even possible to go backwards. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of teachers and educators about what it was like to deal with the virus. Had a conversation with Mary Beth Calabro, the Providence Teacher Union president, and I had a general sense from Mary Beth, and actually a literal sense from her, that there was a bringing together. This virus knocked down a lot of walls because the kids were the most important thing. Do you agree with that?
We have learned so much, and I think the president, PTU president, definitely hit a home run on that. As a school district, as a nation of educators, we've learned a lot from this pandemic. We have obviously exposed the naked underbelly of access and equity, where students were definitely, not all of our students were connected. But we also learned some amazing things while we have disenfranchised some learners, Dan, that just don't like it. And I think you call it sort of the good and the bad break of COVID. So the bad break is some students just hate it and they want to go back to brick and mortar. And some students, they love it. We've absolutely liberated a community of learners. So the thinking around that is, how can we continue to evolve innovation? And why do we ever have to go back to a world where some students were disenfranchised and some weren't? So I think you're right. It has brought out, I think, the best in us, but it's also given us the opportunity to really look at the naked underbelly of how we conduct educational business.
You came here, let's take COVID out of the picture if it's possible. You came here with a challenge to take on a Providence school system that was under national fire with the Hopkins report. Our brand new commissioner committed to making this job one, and she brought you in to conduct job one. You actually remember day one and the press conference, and it was pre-COVID. There was a rumor about a bug, but not really. Do you remember the mindset coming and the reason why?
So let me be clear. One of the main reasons that I'm here is because our governor is a champion for education. She had the foresight to take state action, and I think that's huge. And along that, you've got a commissioner who has just galvanized an entire community around the needs of kids. That's one of the main reasons I'm here. Now, the main focal point that I'm here is to do what's best for children. I absolutely remember that day, Dan. I'm inspired that day, by that day. But the reality is my focus hasn't changed. My North Star walking into this work was to bring community together, to design a plan, and to work on supporting the community around transforming this district. That's still the plan. Obviously, COVID has thrown a curveball. It has forced us to look at things differently. But the goal in our North Star is still to student achievement. It is still to drastically change the trajectory of the lives of the students that we serve.
if you didn't have the virus, so let's talk. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's possible to eliminate the virus and the learning and the experience and the trauma and all of that from your perspective. But if it's possible to go back and say, all right, here's my number one take, my number 1, 2, 3 take from what the Hopkins report told me and what my visits to all the school systems. And I know you're on record saying you visited all the schools. What without people prescribing to you what the problem is, what has been your take about what the turnaround gut check is?
Yeah, so I've publicly said that our students are waiting on us. They are waiting on the adults to deliver high quality learning, the educational institution that they deserve. As I walk through buildings, I see hardworking teachers. It's not a question of if we're working hard. I do think that we have to shift our focus and recenter squarely on the needs of students. The commissioner took a bold step by adding a district-wide curriculum. K-8 will have an ELA and math curriculum that supports the needs of students that A, I think are multilingual learners, B, differently able, but C, we've also got a significant mobility rate. So when students transition from school to school, there's a synergy there that they'll be able to tap into, and teachers will also have the data. The other piece is just ensuring that A, we've got the teachers that are prepared to do the work. Teachers that have been long since demoralized, that they've not had the support, the professional development, the resources. We want to change and mitigate that. But we also want to refocus on what students need. They need loving, caring adults that have high expectations, that will also provide school climates and culture that's steeped in mutual respect and high expectation.
Yeah, look, those answers all seem to be fantastic and very high level. What does your gut say is wrong? Are you telling me that all this time the Providence school system wasn't concerned about the outcomes for children?
Absolutely, they were concerned. We don't have the evidence where kids were primary. We say that, but we've also got to have the evidence. Then we can't offer excuses anymore. We also talk about students that are differently able, and that's an excuse. We also talk about students that are multilingual learners, that's an excuse. We also talk about students' environment in their home. All those are excuses that lower expectations. So at the end of the day, we have to have the belief and the expectations that all students can learn. And I think equally to that, we have to have, and I think it's a huge piece, we have to have a workforce that sort of mirrors the demographics of our students. And we've said that publicly, that many students don't see role models in the people that support them every day. I think the third piece is also, we have some very strong racial undertones that we need to address. The reality is that our community has to attack racism. We have to attack equality because the playing field isn't level for all students to be successful.
All right, we'll elaborate on some of those thoughts, and then we'll talk about some more concrete issues that are facing the school system, COVID and all that kind of thing. Harrison Peters is the new superintendent of Providence Schools, and we'll come right back on Dan Yorke State of Mind. Please stay with us. With Harrison Peters, the superintendent of the Providence Schools here on Dan Yorke State of Mind. By the way, reminder, we recorded this program on Monday afternoon, so do your adjustments to the very fast-moving news cycle when it comes to education. It was only last week that the turnaround plan for Providence was introduced. You can find that online, both here on WPRI.com and with the Providence School System's website and the Rhode Island Department of Education. The commissioner and the super they made that presentation. The only criticism I think that the presentation received was the lack of specificity. It's always the lack of specificity, and talk to me about that. I'm interested in how you get this motor started. You put some goals up.
Mm-hmm.
That I guess were never articulated before. And then people go, well, how are you going to do it? Have you guys figured out how you're going to do it? And you're going to tell us over time? Or is it still establishing the goal is actually the work? I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have a very aggressive turnaround plan. And no question, the commissioner has set out a very bold vision and some extremely high expectations for Providence Public School. When we accept that challenge, then I think we're talking about the what versus the how. And what you want to be very careful is sort of as you develop the what that you prescribe the how. Because again, what I said earlier, there is no playbook for this work. But the how has been occurring and the how will continue to occur. And school districts and situations like this are evolving. For instance, when we walked into the district and I developed an entry plan, we talked about right sizing the school district, right sizing central office, making central office leaner, pushing resources, time, money, and people closer to schools. That is part of the how. A few weeks ago, I announced a reorg and a significant decrease of central office where we cut nearly $1 million plus to the central office budget. That's part of the how. As we start to retool and develop our in-house procurement process so that resources can get to teachers in half the amount of time that they've in the past, that's part of the how. When we go on aggressive teacher campaign to significantly increase the number of vacancies, that's part of the how. So these things occur over time. And I also think the way that we've developed the turnaround plan allows us to be the Bill Belichick and make mid-game adjustments. When you get into the how, it boxes you into a corner and people look for that. And also schools are unique. We respect the uniquenesses of communities and schools. So as we develop the how, we want to develop the how with those uniquenesses in mind.
Right. Well, it's fascinating, the what and the how. I get that. But the what is, we want the city schools to be performing in the top 25% of the state.
Mm-hmm.
That it's funny that you put that number up. I'm an avid golfer, and I'd like to get my handicap down to 2. Right now, the way I'm hitting the ball, that ain't gonna happen. So, and anybody that asks me, or if I said, "Hey, listen, I ought to be a 2 by the end of the year," they'd laugh. They wouldn't even ask about the how. Is it? But at the same time, it's almost disrespectful to suggest that the 25% top tier is impossible. Talk to me about the gutsiness of the prediction or the goal.
It's more about just the expectation for children. Our students have to be prepared. And I'm going to interweave a couple things in here really, really quick. First of all, one of the things when we rolled out distance learning, I was very clear that there is no COVID pass. At the end of the day, 2-3 years from now, when our students are out in society, they're not going to be able to raise their hands, Dan, and say, you know what, I went to school during COVID, I get a pass. Absolutely not. Society expects them to be prepared. The other piece is when you think about this whole transformation district, we have to get to a collective bargaining agreement that's student-centered. We've also brought in, and I said earlier, we spent $4 or $5 million on ensuring that we have a curriculum that's green on ed reports, that's aligned to the students that we serve. But then I also want to go back to the piece because we're in the middle of bargaining, so I don't want to give any of that away. But a lot of the condition setting, and I think that is where the commission has been very public about. In order for this turnaround action plan to work, there are certain conditions to be in place. And part of that how are those conditions. And part of that how is getting to a collaborative bargaining agreement that meets the needs of children.
Okay, and that all gets you to 25% top tier 4 or 5 years from now performance?
We believe that those are major game changers. But remember, these are very aggressive goals. So we will have to modify and adjust all the way. Listen, those 32 NFL teams set out every year to do what? Win the Super Bowl. And you know that there are realities in the locker room and there are injuries along the way and there are the bigger holes that some teams have to climb. But the reality is and the expectation is that we all make it to the big dance. And we have to have that expectation. And the TAP plan is our Super Bowl.
I guess the number 25% is intriguing to me. For anybody that rolls their eyes over the idea that the Providence school system can perform that in that category, what they've said is the system is too much of a drag and that those kids can't learn at that level. And that, I think, is where the systemic racism issue kind of builds in, right? That the expectations for city kids have got to, by rote, be lower. right? So to post a number like that might be jolting to folks. But I think people have to understand why they think it's jolting.
So then at the end of the day, this work is about expectation, time and time again. And I've done this work all over the country. If adults have expectations, kids will rise to those expectations. We're going to be engaging in the study of the new teacher project called The Opportunity Myth. They published a piece about a year and a half ago that went across the nation, studied school districts, and they physically went into classrooms. And they physically engaged and looked at what teachers were doing, what students were doing, and the products they were producing. What they found is less than a third of students of color were actually working on grade level equivalent assignment. So part of what we have to do is ensure that we've got the expectation. What that means is we don't have high expectations for kids of color, and we've got to change that. So we're going to dig into that project. And I think if I'm remembering correctly, the president talked last week during COVID, we had objectives, assessments, standards-based instruction happening. Part of what we've got to make sure is those things are happening for all kids at the level that they can be successful, and also that we're pushing acceleration versus remediation.
We'll talk about a few logistics in a few minutes that we have remaining when we come back with Harrison Peters, the superintendent of the Providence City Schools. To my state of mind, Harrison Peters is the Providence School Superintendent. Listen, it seems like you're breaking up some things right now. Just give me a short answer, if you can, on what happened at Mount Pleasant, for instance. That there's a school within a school, and there's two principals, and there's some loyalty and relationships, and there's some phlegm that gets coughed up whenever you change leadership and the like. Was it a problem, or is it part of just your total reorg? In other words, was that a deficiency response, or is that more of the beginning of a bigger systemic change of game plan?
Yeah, Dan, so I want to connect this to the how that we talked about earlier. This is part of a larger game plan to redesign high schools. If you know that we don't have a high school other than our classical high school that has 10% of the students or more that are on grade level, that are college ready and college proficient. So part of the Mount Pleasant is we want to innovate with them, and we want to create a lab of innovation so that they begin out of the gate to be the example of what we want high schools to be. We've had to make some tough decisions there, but quite frankly, if you look at the data, we weren't serving students in the way that they deserve. So we're always going to lead with students. We're going to make sure that they're first, and we've had to make some tough decisions there.
It's just the beginning of what's going to be a difficult thing to do, and that is, there's just so many folks that you can recruit into a system in order to be able to lift the system up. You've got to get buy-in from the people who exist in the organization, right?
No question. And I want to be very clear. There are some amazing, hardworking folks at those schools. And Hope is not, Mount Pleasant is not the only school that has vacancies. We're looking for leaders in a few of our high schools. But more specifically, Mount Pleasant has been on RIDE's watch list for 10 years. That is grossly unacceptable, and we can no longer wait. Time is of the essence. Madam President talked last week around Massachusetts taking 26 years. They've been in this game of turnaround for 20. We don't have 26 years. We can't afford to lose another generation. So we're going to act with the urgency and the fierceness that it needs to really push the envelope for students.
All right, look, you've got some, it's inspiring, the concept of setting high goals. We'll get more hows as the whats are developed here, but the hows in COVID are brutal, and the variables are significant. The work you're doing this week, as a matter of fact, again, we're taping on Monday. Monday night, you had a Facebook Live program, just kind of organically get feedback from the people of the city, exactly how they want to have this thing go. At the end of the day, you're going to have to make some calls about how you're actually going to get these kids back to school. And one of the interesting ideas, I guess, is to get the neighborhood school concept back, if only for the transportation challenges that you have right now, because you can't put a lot of kids on a bus and the high school kids going ripped it. 24,000. You sure you want this gig? My I can't even imagine. So give me a short script on that, if you could.
No question. So we have some pretty significant decisions that we're going to make. And what we rolled out to the community is that this is about public health, first of all. A lot of it has to do with public health. We are in a crisis, we're in a pandemic. So we're looking at an option of 25 to 30 students or 12 to 15 students. Quite frankly, we don't have the transportation grid. We don't have the surplus of buses to transport kids safely in the fall. So we've looked at some opportunities to bring to the community. So we've got 3 basic scenarios that we want to bring to the community to think about. One involves keeping students at their neighborhood schools. And if they do, that means we've got to have longer walks to our bus stops. We're going to have fewer bus stops. We're also going to have start times that range from 7:30 all the way to 10:30. And we know with parents wanting to get back to work, that's going to be difficult. So we've got some really, really difficult choices based on the guidance that we've gotten from the CDC, Department of Health, and RIDE in order to get back to students. I think that it's going to be tough. It's going to be really difficult because, again, we get connected to our neighborhood schools. And again, we've not made a decision, but I think we have to be able to think about this choice, because we've had choice for years, and parents have gotten used to that. So we want to be very careful and respectful of that. And then the final thing that I'll say that if students are in a special program and have special needs and a special type of, we're going to continue to bus those students to their school if that's the decision that the community makes along with the school district.
Well, listen, I think this is a week-to-week thing. I'd like to keep the dialogue moving on both the TV and the radio on this because it's fluid, and August feels like it's tomorrow, and it also feels like it's 2 years away. So it's hard in the middle of this. Thank you for your access. I hope this is the beginning of a good dialogue on this Providence school system, because as Providence goes, so goes Rhode Island, and more Rhode Islanders, I think, have got to come to that understanding. We wish you the best of luck, Superintendent Harrison.
Thank you.
We'll have a final word when we come back. On the play for our educators, Providence and beyond, who will do our best to stay on top of it. Later in the week, we'll have National Education Association Executive Director Bob Walsh for the larger teacher union perspective in the state. You have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.